Welcome to another edition of Profile. What we're trying to do on this show is not exactly, well, it is a show and it's online. What we try to do with Profile is speak to professionals in their field about their lives and about how they can add value to the lives of younger people. So that's why it's called Profile, Professional File. Today I have with me the most amazing TOKE Makinwa.
Hello!
Welcome, TOKE.
This is really amazing. I like what you're doing. I mean, just listening to the intro, and it's like, yeah, a lot of people would definitely watch this to see pearls of wisdom, what they can learn, which is really amazing. That's good.
Thank you. And thank you for coming at such short notice.
And thank you for feeding me. It was worth it.
glad you enjoyed your food.
Yeah.
So guys, it's no news that TOKE has written a book. And I must say, TOKE, I'm really sorry about the leak. Yes, Becoming. That's the first thing I want to talk to you about. There will be haters. There'll be people who would praise, sympathize, and all of that. Now, I must tell you something about Profile. The thing about Professional Files is all of these questions I'm asking you are questions that we have received from people who want to ask you questions on our online platform, on our social media handles. People who want to ask TOKE questions but probably can't get the opportunity to, and that's the whole point. So we sieve through these questions and then we ask questions that we think will add value.
Okay.
So one question or one statement that, in fact, I promoted this show on my Instagram handle, and guess what happened? The amount of hate mail.
Hate mail?
Yes.
Okay.
That book title suits it. It's actually very unbecoming. Not unbecoming.
Yeah.
It's unbecoming of TOKE to write everything she did about Maje. There are two sides to every story. We don't know Maje's story. TOKE claims to be an MFM Christian. So question number one, if you've really forgiven, this book seems like vendetta.
Well, the thing is, I'm sure the person or people who ask those questions haven't read the book. When something like this happens, there's excerpts online, and people grab all sorts of flashy headlines and what they think, is juicy parts of the book, and that's what people would meddle as headlines. And then when they now read the book, the tone changes because you realize that this is not a personal event. There's no battle. Do you know what I mean? This is a girl who is sharing her experiences in the hope that, I have this platform that has been given to me by God, and I feel like, sometimes we go through certain things, and those things we go through have nothing to do with you or I. It most certainly sometimes has to do with so many people who are coming behind you. It's almost like when you see someone go through the fire, and you see someone walk through the fire, and the person comes out and they still have a positive attitude, and you're thinking, that's who I want to be like. So when certain things happen to you, there's a place of reference. If that person can go through this and survive, then I will survive. So it was going to happen because of the kind of when it happened, I was very quiet for a year. I didn't do any interviews. I didn't appear on any magazine covers. I wasn't talking about it because I was trying to heal. I was trying to survive. For me, it was basically I was at my worst. You know what I mean? And I started to, write this book because I first felt like it was an assignment given to me by God. Because I remember at the start of the year, I'd heard that word, you're going to write a book. But at that point, I never thought about writing a book. I've never imagined myself as a writer. I see people who write books and I'm just like, yeah, maybe they're about to retire, you're leaving office. Some people do it for a status, thing. Okay, I should have a book detailing my life or whatever. And I never saw myself as that because I didn't think I'd even gotten to that point. There's still so much for me to acquire, knowledge-wise, growth-wise, and so many other things. So when that word came, because my career, my growth, I always tell people unashamedly is based on my spirituality and my relationship with God. I wouldn't say religion because religion is a different conversation entirely.
Completely.
It's my relationship with my Creator, and every year we have this talk where I say to God, okay, 2014 was amazing, 2015 was amazing. What are we going to do in 2016? This is where I thought I would be. You surpassed it, or maybe some things I thought I would have. I didn't have it, Lord. So what are we going to do in this year? Take the lead because I am only a vessel. And I remember when I heard that word, you're going to write a book, I first thought, yeah. The thing about it is sometimes we hear that word and we think it's our mind, because I'm not a scholar, I'm not a pastor. So in my mind I thought, okay, this is your crazy mind running wild again, and I totally dismissed it. And then it kept coming back from people, which is what I found fantastic, that so even when in my in my pain and in me trying to get through what I was going through, I would be praying for a sign. And it's so amazing how it would come from maybe talking to somebody. It could come from talking to a stranger. Someone would just say something to you and you register and you'd be like, God speaks to us. It might not be how you expect him to. Or it's not the theater lights come on and Ifoma, I'm telling you to. So it was very normal for me to feel like it was my mind, and I pushed it away and I wasn't going to do it until so many people started coming to me, and then this now happened to me, and I had my private life bared out, you know, to the world, and people had different ideas of what they thought, you know, was the reason why this was going on with TOKE, you know. And it's amazing. This has taught me a lot of lessons, you know. As women, I sit back and I see how we're quick to tear each other down, you know. When TOKE was quiet about the craziness, you filled in the blanks yourself and said, this is why this happened.
Is why she's quiet.
She's hardworking. She did not have time for her marriage. She didn't sit at home. She didn't do this. And then TOKE is sharing her healing process with the world and wanting, if I can't change the world, and I can change one person who is going through something and feeling like this is the end of them, and, you know, just accept and believe that this is not the end of you. My job here is done. Completely. So for all these questions back and forth, it's almost like, okay, this is a book that sort of lets you into my world a little bit, and yet there's still, why are you now sharing? So at the end of the day, you realize if you're watching this, you can't live to please the world. There are always going to be people who would wonder why you did certain things.
You do.
And why you wake up in the morning, and why you're breathing, and why you're smiling. All you can do is stay on your lane, focus, and, you know, just keep working and just keep pushing and just keep getting better at your craft. So
you see, the pearls of wisdom are dropping already. So my next question is, how did you deal with what happened yesterday, the leak?
How did that happen? To be honest with you, I think I was shocked. I mean, for me, it was just like, whoa, you know, Unbecoming just literally launched on Sunday, and, you know, there you go. You know, there's already sort of people out there sharing, you know, PDF files. And what actually happened was there was a broken computer that file must have come from. And, you know, it's not a complete version of the book.
Thankfully.
It's not a complete version there. But even then, you know, it's literally watching your hard work, because this has been over a year and a half and we've kept it on the wraps and no one knew about it. And just when we launched, that person waits to then leak the finished version of it, but it's incomplete, but it's still, you know, your work. Large chunk, yeah. And, you know, we are also in a country where piracy is still a big issue. People need to do more. It's almost like there's no conscious effort of, my God, this is someone's intellectual property. What am I doing? They just feel there's free music, I'll share it. There's a free movie, have you watched it? There's a free book, come and read it, you know. But then the thing about me is I like to share with people. I'm a child of grace, you know. Everything always works out for my good in the end. So I'm literally just...
I had a conversation with a young girl this morning, and I was like, you know, TOKE's book, it leaked, you know, and she was like, I'm not surprised. I said, what do you mean? She said, I'm surprised TOKE is surprised. They pirated movies, so it's almost becoming a cultural thing, you know, and it's something that we have to consciously not do. And I think it boils down to values.
My legal team are also working really hard. I do have to give it to them. They are working really hard. They've had to, you know, do certain things to sort of get, you know, some sort of control over it. You know, at the end of the day, I went to bed last night not even worrying anymore, because I just laid it at the feet of Christ. I was like, Lord, you've got this. This is your project.
That's right.
So however you want it to go, you know, let it go. So that's right. I'm just focusing on the message, you know, and trying to have conversations that will begin to waking sides of us that we feel, you know, we shouldn't share with the public, or we should keep this. And that shame, that culture of shame, you know, we've all accepted it because you believe that everybody's suffering in silence. But why is hers different? You know, the truth of the matter is, you don't know who you might be saving just by speaking to someone and letting them know that. I feel personally that that's why a lot of homes are not even together, and a lot of marriages are breaking up, because people are not as honest as they should be. You know, society has failed us, the church has failed us. You know, everywhere is like there's this plaster answer they give to you, just bandages.
And even the mask that you're forced to wear.
You're forced to wear that mask and smile even when you're breaking down inside. I mean, I was at a wedding recently, and a woman walked up to me and she just started crying, and she just wanted to know how I survived what I went through because she's going through something and she's having suicidal thoughts. And I said, don't let that come over you. You know, it was also a need to let people see that I'm human, you know. So many people felt like there was a pot of strength somewhere. So if you buy the book on Becoming, you realize that I take you on a journey. The days I felt good, I wrote it. The days I didn't feel good, I let it take its toll on me, and I'm still here, and it's made me so.
And you are becoming.
I am becoming.
Definitely.
I'm on a journey. You know, it's like, that's what it means. You know, I left the title open for a reason, so that when you read it, as you can see, the title is open.
Yeah.
You can feel in what you're becoming.
Exactly.
So if you're becoming stronger, more
explain
honest,
this eraser shortly.
more, you know, more focused. You can just write focused on becoming stronger, on becoming, you know.
There you go. So
Whoever you're
that's shedding more light on becoming. So what we do on this platform is we don't wait till the end to say, oh, so you've heard from TOKE. This is a conclusion. As we go, we want to note down the points because it's a practical aid for your life as a person, as a woman, as an entrepreneur. First thing I've learned from what TOKE said, it is on becoming, not unbecoming. It wasn't out of pity party. It had nothing to do with her ex-husband completely. It had to do with sharing in the hope that somebody else will heal. The second thing you heard TOKE say, guys, there is absolutely no overnight success. No such thing. You heard her saying working hard, striving and all of that. It's about working hard. If you plan, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. There's no shortcuts. But I must say, this book, guys, I've read this book. I'm reading this a second time round, and this time I have with TOKE is not enough to share everything. So by the grace of God, TOKE will be back. But